How's it going?
Going good. How are you? I'm so excited to be chatting with you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm also really happy to see your face. We were saying it for years.
I know. So I feel like, I know firsthand just from going on so many amazing trips with you, that Revolve's marketing strategy has always been about travel, going out, getting dressed up, having fun. So how have you guys been able to shift during the pandemic?
Well, I mean, as you can imagine, it was really, really tough. I'm sure for everybody, but more for a brand, like you said, is rooted in being
Fun.
with your friends, traveling and living your best life. And so it was definitely a challenge, but I do have to give it up to the team. They did a phenomenal job pivoting and, first starting with our merchandise, making sure that we started to get in more loungewear, activewear, the sweatsuit situation, as you know, so that we can really, let our customers know that we have the product that they will be needing. And then our content changed pretty immediately after. Yeah. We have an ongoing travel campaign that we've had for 8 years at this point called Revolve Around the World. And so we just did a play on it and launched a hashtag called Revolve Around the House, where we really encouraged our network of influencers and our customers to just show what they're doing around the house, whether it's working out or cooking more, making their favorite margaritas, drinking their favorite wine, laying out in their backyard or their front yard, just to, unite everybody and let everybody know that, of course, like you're not alone in this, we're doing it together, and hopefully you can still feel good and look good while doing it safely at home. So yeah, it was a big pivot, but we all made it happen.
Yeah. I feel like you guys had a lot of promotional initiatives. Like, were there, aside from the one that you just spoke of, were there a few others that are your favorites or that were super successful?
Yeah, we did Revolve a virtual Revolve summer, which you went to the one in Bermuda a couple of years ago, and that was so fun. So we activated over 100 influencers across the world to just, again, submit content, and we posted it on various platforms, on IGTV, of course, YouTube, etc., TikTok, to just again, what are you doing this summer? What's the new take on Revolve Summer? We also did a Revolve U, which was short for Revolve University, where we did virtual conferences basically like this, where we had, brands and influencers and just really incredible people come on and just talk about, their careers and kind of everything that they're doing at their brands or companies to continue to pivot and get through, this kind of once in a lifetime situation that we were all in. So there were a lot of great moments throughout the year. Now looking back, that, at the time it was actually really stressful because, again, how do you make all this work? Right. How do you continue to inspire your customers? How do you keep them coming back to the site? And, I think we did a pretty solid job to continue to serve that inspiration, but just in a different way.
Yeah, I totally want to talk more about the influencer marketing later because I feel like nobody does it better than you guys. But first I want to ask you, what were some of the differences in shopping? I feel like everyone was, like the consumer behavior must have been different. What were you noticing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, again, as a business where our number one selling category are dresses.
Clubbing dresses.
Exactly. It was just challenging all across the board. But, again, this is, just a testament to the incredible team that we have across the board, from obviously our merchandisers, our buyers, and our data analysts to let, us know, like, hey, obviously, we didn't really need all this data to let us know, but just to say like, hey, people are not buying dresses. We have to move into other categories that they're caring about. And it was a lot of, again, sweats and loungewear, activewear, and then beauty. Our beauty business is, basically grown triple digits over the last year. And it's presented us with this incredible opportunity across the board, even though it was really hectic, to say the least, to pivot. it gave us an opportunity to not only expand our product offering to our customers, because you wouldn't really maybe before think about going to Revolve for your sweats or your activewear or your beauty, but now you are. And it also allowed us to expand our marketing playbook. Whereas before, all of our content was really centered around all the events and the trips we were doing. Now we were forced to create content that was just like everyday life, using kind of everyday products that people were buying. And so, again, in hindsight, looking back, it was such a pivotal time in Revolve, in the sense of that, I think we were able to really showcase a new side of the brand. As challenging as it was, I think it was really, really worthwhile and impactful in a really positive way to the overall success of the business.
Yeah. So during that time, did you guys pick up a lot of new brands, and did you drop any maybe?
We didn't really drop. I don't have exact numbers. We didn't really drop any brands, but we did pick up a lot of new brands, and we also saw that a lot of the brands that we've carried for years also pivoted very quickly, which was very impressive. They started to make the sweatsuits and activewear, and made sure that customers like Revolve had the merchandise that they were looking for. We definitely picked up more beauty, more skincare than makeup, which I'm sure is a trend across the board. But yeah, it was such a weird but such a special time, I think, for so many companies to just figure it out and buckle down and really kind of look at the business in a different way. And I do think it was positive, as much as hard as it was during the time.
Yeah. I agree. And it was very impressive to see a lot of brands, even swimsuit brands, all of a sudden halting production and making masks. Bridal companies doing that too,
For sure. And that was another kind of funny, fun fact, is we sold a ton of swimsuits during the pandemic. And I really do think it's because people were just wanted to feel like they were gonna travel, even though they're just laying out maybe in their front yard. It was so funny. And so we sold that category really well.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but and I think a lot of people started doing the mini road trips or staycations, but would would rent a house with a pool and stuff like that. So I do think everyone figured out a different way to live, and still kind of live the best possible life they can with the situation we're all given.
Yeah. All right. So, but then on the flip side, there were definitely some brands and retailers that didn't pivot as well. What would you say, or what do you think they did wrong?
I think obviously the pandemic, really escalates everything quicker. But I do think a lot of those companies may not have been in the best place before the pandemic, whether it's obviously not, their balance sheet wasn't great, or they weren't connecting with the consumer already. So I do think that it just kind of, made things faster. And I do see that on the flip side too, where people shopping online, people already are shopping online, but it just made everyone shop online significantly faster, because you couldn't go out. So I don't know if it was just the cause of the pandemic. I'm sure there's obviously a lot to do with it, but I do think, having a ton of brick and mortar stores definitely is challenging, overall, and not being able to sustain that business, and then maybe not having a very, interactive website, or just having a really great presence online, whether that's social media or your online store. I think that, that is really where we are and where we've been heading.
Yeah.
And so I do think those were kind of some of the things that just exacerbated the situation.
Yeah, definitely all about the online presence.
Exactly.
So now, with the vaccine and with numbers going down, I feel like we're all starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. How do you think that Revolve will fare afterwards? And do you think that you guys are kind of better off for it? As weird as that sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we are, again, in hindsight, as challenging as it was for the business,
Yeah.
we were able to kind of just buckle down and focus on the basics of making sure, first and foremost, everybody at the company was safe. Like, to be able to ship every single day during the pandemic, like people don't think about that, but that's like a huge, huge, like a thing to be able to accomplish because we had to literally change the way people worked because of Corona, of COVID, right? And making sure that we continue to ship our customers their packages. So that was just such a big win for us. But just even being able to recalibrate and really listen to our customer and pivot very quickly. I think it really just retrained all of us to make sure that we're always kind of on our toes and that we do, you have to have a great team to be able to execute all of these things across the board. And so I think that is setting us up for success. Starting again, I always say like it kind of starts from home. Like our team, I think, is super duper solid.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, I am hopeful that when things start to really open up, I mean, we already see, like for instance, in Australia, it's been pretty open there for like the last couple of, I would say, 2 months, and our business there is doing phenomenal. And people are just going out. They can have indoor events for up to 500 people, and they can have outdoor events for up to 5,000 people. So, they're able to contain the COVID, and now they're paying for it early in the sense that they are like out there. They're like partying. They're at the beach. They're like wearing dresses. They're like doing all the things, Pandora.
Can't wait.
Yes. And so that excites us. It excites me to know that like, wow, like when this is over, because it's going to be over at one point, there's going to be a different normal, there's going to be different, situation, life. But at the end of the day, we're all going to be able to hopefully get out there again sooner versus later, hopefully. But I do think we're in an incredible position to be able to, obviously serve our customer, but hopefully acquire new ones along the way.
Yeah. Okay. So now back to the influencer marketing. So like I said earlier, you guys really have done it better than anybody else. How has it evolved, and how even now do you still make it work for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's evolved so much from when we started, working with influencers, 11, 12 years ago at this point. To start, there's just so many more influencers, which I do think is really cool and really exciting because it allows you to narrow down who you want to work with and target certain types of customers and different, geographics based on, where their top cities and top countries are. I think we've gotten more sophisticated, to be honest, in terms of the types of influencers we work with for which type. We work with over 7,500 influencers at any given time. And we've, really built that team as well as the systems to manage our influencer network from the ground up. So we're really tracking so many different types of metrics to make sure, again, that, they are purposeful. At the end of the day, influencers do just that. They influence people. So we want to make sure that they're influencing the right people and sending the right messages. And, it's been really exciting just to see how much it's changed and blossomed the last decade. And then now with so many different types of platforms, that just gets like even crazier because, you have, TikTok centric influencers that were kind of just born on TikTok. And then now even within Instagram, there's so many different products that an influencer has to be well versed in, from Reels to IGTV to stories to their feed. I mean, I actually feel really bad for influencers. And then of course there's YouTube and, Pinterest. I mean, there's just so many different, and then, now there's a lot of influencers that are doing podcasts. There's just so many types. And I think it can be overwhelming, but for us, I think it's very, very exciting because again, you're able to work with a significantly wider set of people that can reach, just significantly more people at the same time.
Right. And it's like never ending. It just keeps evolving.
Never ending. It's just, it keeps going and there's always somebody new and there's always someone that just kind of explodes on the scene.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic because you again get this opportunity to just watch someone's career really blossom in front of your eyes and really kind of make a literally a name for themselves.
Yeah. So we have a question on the subject, so I'd love to ask you. Do you feel influencers have had to shift their messaging from fashion trends to sharing more of themselves due to the pandemic to connect on a deeper level when it comes to brand marketing?
Absolutely. And I think not just influencers, I think it's brands too. You know, you need to have a sense of purpose and you need to be able to provide your fans and your consumers with why they need to be shopping with you. And I think that's the same, you know, thought process with influencers. I do think the ones that are able to really connect in a deep way with their fans are the ones who are more open, whatever that means. If they're open about their, you know, their emotional state, if they're going through a breakup, obviously, you know, if they're supportive of a cause or an initiative. But I do think that, you know, it's very, very important to only do that as if there's any influencers listening, if you are truly connected with those types of issues or really want to share those types of emotions, you know, because I do think that people can kind of sense an authenticity when you're just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it. And I think that same kind of thought process also applies to companies and brands.
Yeah. So that has to be some heart behind it.
1000%. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, always, always, always.
Yeah. And do you think that that was like kind of a result of the pandemic, or do you think that that has been slowly building?
I think it's been slowly building. And again, it kind of very similar to, you know, online shopping. It just made things come so much sooner because we were going through the pandemic. I think, you know, when you look at a platform like TikTok, which is the, you know, if you think about it, it's the anti-Instagram. It's like you're raw and you're real and you don't have to have the perfect background or the best lighting or the best outfit. You're just kind of doing your thing. And like, that's so cool, you know, and where Instagram is like, everything is perfect. So I do think that that trend of like, it's not even trend, but just a different way of connecting with people has been a long time coming. And the pandemic just made us do that sooner than we all probably wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a silver lining, I think, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just saying earlier, I was in a meeting with that, you know, I think 2020 allowed us to really all slow down and kind of regroup, you know, about everything, whether it's about your business, your personal life, your, you know, yourself. And I do think as tough as it was, now we're all coming out of it kind of, I hope, like more energized, refreshed, and have a, you know, better sense of feeling about ourselves and what we want to do.
Yeah. And I definitely think that your content has helped do that, you know?
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. And so I know you recently launched the Revolve Mentorship program.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm so, so proud to announce. I mean, we announced it last week, the Revolve Mentorship program, and it was really out of this, you know, need to support our Black-owned brands and our Black designers. You know, last year during BLM, you know, Revolve wasn't spared a lot of feedback and criticism from everyone about how we can be doing more. And that was one of the, you know, most important lessons in my career of, you know, you do have a platform and you do have the power to make a difference, as, you know, as cheesy as that sounds. And I think it's hard for me to sometimes think about how big the company has gotten, because I feel like I always feel like I just work there. Like you know, but then it's like, no, you work there and you can help push things forward. And so the mentorship program was one of those things where we didn't want to just do something to just say like, oh, here are a bunch of like, you know, Black-owned brands or Black designers. It's like, what can we do to make sure that when we launch and after their launch, that we support them the best way we know how? And that's really with our team, you know, with the data that we have, with the, you know, of basically being like, okay, hey, this is what is working, this is what's not working, and just, you know, making that an option for them to come to us if they need any assistance, you know, between finance, merchandising and planning, brand marketing. And it's been really great just to see how receptive everyone's been, and I can't wait to continue to grow it even more.
That's incredible. That's really incredible. Do you think that we're going to go back to normal, or will there be like a new normal? Like what do you think?
I think it's definitely a new normal. It's really hard to like kind of go back to like the way we were. I mean, it's really hard to just like go out and like not wear a mask or just like touch anything, because you're just like, wait, and are we safe? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
I think even just that on like a literal like health like situation, but I think we're all just a little bit more mindful and open, which I think is really amazing. Just as people, of like being able to help each other out and knowing that there is so much more than just like, our world that we live in, the Revolve world. There's so much more that we can do. And that's definitely one of the best things that I've learned and taking away from 2020. And I feel so energized to be able to, lead the brand in a slightly different direction. That's, that I think is really more impactful and positive. And I want to be a part of that. And I really hope that our customers and our fans do too.
Yeah. Just like coming out better on the other side.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So wait, will Revolve Festival be back?
I mean, Pandora, I want it to be back. I know. I mean, it's always like dependent, of course, on safety and what's happening. And I know Coachella itself is trying to figure out what they're going to do. So we're kind of just in the waiting game. We do have a ton of things planned for this year. And we're always kind of just, learning from 2020, just trying to see like what we can do, and always kind of just in the, it's a waiting game, right? Like, can we do it or can we not? And we just want to, of course, make sure everyone feels like safe, and that's our number one priority. But we're very eager to get out there and just, I think there's a question too.
As we are at, as we are at this event with the slogan "Fashion is now," what would you define fashion to be today in this moment?
I would say fashion today is really about, literally like living your true self and not feeling like you have to be somebody else, and not like having to do the things that, people did or brands did before. I think that that's what's so exciting, whether you're an entrepreneur that's just starting your own brand. I mean, the access that you have to people is incredible, and the access of information that you have. I mean, you can read books and listen to podcasts and, and just learn from other people. Like, you don't just by going online and going on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And I think that that's amazing. And then on the fashion side, I mean, again, I think in terms of content and the way people dress and the brands that they want to be associated with, people have a different sense of purpose when they look at those things. It's like, you don't want to just, you want to support a brand and buy a product or brands that I think that you can really, really relate to, whatever that means for you. And that's been very different before, where brands dictated what you should wear, who should you look like, who should, it's completely different. And I love it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's also very Gen Z.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
What would you say? What can we expect with trends? Will there be a roaring 20s on Revolve?
I think so. We've already seen people, our different categories picking back up. And I do think that people are out there a little bit more, whether it's just, again, the staycations or whatever, but they are getting dressed up more. I think people are kind of wanting to get out of sweats and feeling better. And so I'm very excited for it. And we're waiting until we can really get out there and travel and have all these amazing events. But in the meantime, we just want to continue to connect with our consumers on social and through content. And of course, the website with all of our brands and our products.
Yeah. So when we finally can get out and have a good time, like, what will you be wearing? Like, what is in your closet right now that you're dying
Oh my
to take
gosh.
out?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. It's so funny. I'm like that, I'm just a consumer in that sense. I
Yeah.
love product and I love, of course, shopping on the site. I have a few dresses and just like more dressier things. I haven't really bought shoes, to be honest, but I am very, very excited to buy shoes and a bag when the time's right.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I think, again, coming from such a tough year across the board, I feel like I've learned so much, and the team has grown, and the business has blossomed in a really different way, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I can't wait for really my passport. My passport wonders where I am.
Seriously, I'm like, wait, what are you gonna wear? What's your
Girl,
outfit?
anything. Something dressy for sure. And then last thing, just on like more of a personal note, and I feel like you kind of already touched on this a little bit earlier, but what would you say is the biggest takeaway from the last year personally?
Personally, is that, oh my gosh. My biggest takeaway from last year personally, I would say, is that like you really make the, time for the things that you want to make time for. I know we had a lot of time, but I feel like, you could have been, not working out even, like, because you're just at home and you're like, no one's going to see me. But if it's something that you really enjoy, like, you'll do that. And, just really learning to prioritize. For me, it was like being with my daughter.
Oh my God, she is precious.
Thank you. Yeah, like it was such a, I guess, it was a gift in that way because, she's actually turning 3 next week. And it was my first time since she was born that I was home for this long.
Wow.
And it's just been such a wonderful experience to be with her and just really watch her grow and blossom. And yeah, I think that, and just aligning on like what's really important in your life, and again, making time for the things that you really, really care for. And the people that you love, I think we all kind of, walked away from that of like, man, who are you texting with a lot, or who are you FaceTiming with a lot, or who are you, who is checking in with you, and who are you checking in on, and it kind of summarizes, again, who's most important, and who do you want to spend the most time with.